Hello and welcome back to another episode of Mind Renovation Nation. I am your host, Nathan Bush. In each show, we share with you real life examples from my real estate experience. We invite industry experts, innovators, and influencers to explore the challenges and opportunities facing small multifamily real estate investors. We've designed this show to answer the questions you have about reaching your market, researching your market, setting up effective management systems, and maximizing your returns. If you want more of these types of resources regularly, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel or head on over to www.nathanbushmba.com/subscribe or check out the other resources in the links below. I'd like to encourage you today, if you have questions, go ahead and submit those questions online throughout the entire show. If you're joining us for the first time on the Mind Renovation Nation show, go ahead and put who you are and where you're from, and let's share out with everybody the new attendees to the Mind Renovation Nation show. All right, guys, today we got a great show lined up for you. I am talking all about this concept of leadership leverage. That's leadership leverage. Today we're going to gain insights on how to get more leverage out of our leadership. Wouldn't it be great to know? Wouldn't it be great to know how to get more leverage out of our leadership? All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But before we get too far into that, I want to remind you this show is sponsored by Red Maples, your go-to source for institutional style property management of small multifamily rentals. If you are looking to see how is my real estate performing, is there any tweaks I can make, or would another management company be a better option for me? Head on over to www.red-maples.com/assessment and get your free assessment today. Now back to the show on leadership leverage. I want to ask you a question. And this question is a question I have been pondering for a long time. How important do you think leadership is in your real estate business? No, seriously. How important do you think leadership is in your real estate business? If you're watching online, go ahead and type that into the chat right now. What do you think? How important is leadership in your real estate business? Today, we are going to answer that question. I want you to type how important you think leadership is in your real estate business. Have you even thought about leadership in your real estate business? Take a second and rate yourself. How would you rate your leadership skill on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being awful, 10 being I'm one of the greatest leaders in real estate of all time. How is your leadership skill ranking on a scale of 1 to 10? Go ahead and type that in the chat if you feel comfortable and confident enough to share with everybody. I know it could be a little bit vulnerable to share where your leadership skill is. I'd give myself around maybe a 5 or a 6 in my ability to lead in real estate. And so where are you at? How are you performing? Why did you give yourself the score you did? I'll tell you why I gave myself a 5 or a 6. I feel there's significant room for improvement in my leadership. See, cultivating the right environment for other people to be able to grow and develop and to achieve things faster in the in the world and in our organization. That's what I hope to achieve and to move my leadership skill up. I want to design resources, tools, and equip people to be better prepared to face the challenges that they're going to see in real estate. And I feel the better I get at developing myself, I think the reason I gave myself on the 5 or 6 side the higher score would be because I think I've got pretty good character. I consider my self-discipline pretty good, my consistency pretty good, and values pretty good. But so that's the reasons I gave myself for a 5 or 6. How about you? How are you doing in your leadership? Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. You can go ahead and put that in the notes. Awesome. So now let's talk about that leadership. Your real estate business cannot outgrow you. You are literally the roof on your real estate business. Your real estate business will never be bigger than you are. Your real estate business is the pond that you're swimming in right now, is the fishbowl that you're swimming in. And see, you have to grow and move yourself out of one pond or environment into another environment in order to be able to help you maximize your own personal growth so that your business can grow. But your business will never expand larger than that ceiling that you have on your real estate business. You are the roof. For your business to grow, You must grow. You become that pond, that fishbowl that expands so that the fish, your business, can grow larger inside of it. Same is true with your roof. Your roof, as your roof expands, your business can expand, but you stop it. You're the one that's keeping the business from growing and achieving the level that you want to achieve in your life. Now, please understand, I'm saying this as a friend, as a kind, caring, loving person who's trying to help you overcome any type of challenges that you have from getting your business to grow. And so leadership, the first thing you have to understand about it is it starts with you. Now, you can outgrow, your business can outgrow you, and here's how. When you partner with others, then and only then can your business outgrow you. So if you're the ceiling on your business and it can't grow any larger than you, but you partner with somebody who's got a ceiling capacity here, now there's more room for your business to continue to grow. And so that's the question that I had to ask you at the very beginning. Rate your leadership scale on a scale of 1 to 10. How important is leadership in your real estate business? All right, how about this? The greater the impact you want to have, the greater influence, greater your influence needs to be. So the greater the impact that you want to have, the greater your influence needs to be. Think about this. When you're designing your business, are you designing it for impact? What kind of impact do you want to have? See, I think that the whole concept of the ability for you to even raise your roof and grow your business starts with this concept of what kind of impact do you want to have? The impact you want to have actually sets the potential or the blueprint for the ceiling that you're trying to build your structural business to. If you're never going to outgrow your roof, at least have the blueprints, the impact that you want to have, so that you can set your bar higher to continue to build on top of that roof. I'll tell you this, just as in general, I like to tell people whenever I'm talking about leadership that I am a really good number 2. And I know I mean that in every context of the word, a really good number 2. And the reason I say that is that being a number 2 tells us a little bit about my personality, tells us a little bit about my leadership style, tells you a little bit about a lot of things without me having to say a lot. Being a really good number 2 allows you to have a service mentality in every situation. When I hire people, oftentimes I'll give them a role or responsibility and I'll say, you're the boss of this. You own this. You're fully responsible for this piece of the business that I've given to you to work. You work it. And if you have any questions, I'm here to help resolve those issues for you. Come back to me so I can serve you and add value to your life. But after I train and teach you up, you're the one responsible for this. And if there's problems or issues or challenges with it, you tell me. You share with me those things so that I can go in and fix those things with you. I think being a really good number 2 also has its benefits in the fact that I'm better served as a floor than I am a ceiling. If businesses can only grow to the roof of that business, if your business is only going to grow to the roof, which is you, what if I could turn that entire concept around and I could allow giants to stand on my service? If I'm going to be the ceiling, why not just get out of the way and let the business grow? Being a really good number 2 allows you to be that floor that serves others to stand on versus being that ceiling and being in their way. Your accomplishments are going to be restricted by your ability to lead others. What you accomplish in this world is going to be restricted by your ability to lead others. And how you see yourself is so important in this process. See, it also is determined upon your philosophy on how you grow your business. How do you hire people? What type of assets do you buy? When you work in a negotiation, how do you see yourself? Your perception of yourself is also that hamper, is that ceiling that we just talked about, that's putting a lid on your leadership, as John Maxwell would say. John Maxwell, in his 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, the number one law was the law of the lid. And so if you want to overcome this law of the lid, it also determines upon how you see yourself in every relationship. And your accomplishments are going to be restricted by your ability to lead others. You can only accomplish so much unless you can lead others to achieve those things. And when you start leading others, how do you see yourself? You allow them to make you do things you know are wrong. Okay. So a lot of people often challenge this number two viewpoint, and they'll say to me, Nathan, yeah, that's all great, but what if they're giving you bad information or bad direction? Okay, that's part of it. You're going to get some bad input from time to time. I think it's also important to understand the opposite side of that. We have with us a certain set of values, a certain set of guiding principles, of philosophy, of approach that we're going to take towards our business and life. And this is our leadership skill. So, no, I'm not going to allow somebody to make me do something I know is wrong. That's where leadership comes in. Leadership comes in not allowing people to do things that are going to injure myself, injure them, or injure the business. That level of accountability is so critical in business. And a lot of leaders make mistakes around this. There's leaders who are very iron fist, and it's my way or the highway. And they add no value to anybody else but other than themselves. These are very selfish people, and I don't know how much of a leader I could call them. There's also leaders that let people walk all over them, take advantage of them, run them into doing the wrong thing. They don't do the due diligence and the research to check up on the decisions that are being made. And this is critical in understanding concepts like Enron. How could a company like Enron be taken down, multi-billion-dollar organization, go through massive scandal? Well, they allowed people to influence them for greed to do the wrong thing. And so it's critical in your leadership that you're able to see and do the right thing. So your ability to improve your leadership still becomes that ceiling. We can adjust that ceiling by understanding how to become the floor and to have people stand on our service. But there's a difference when you're being walked on. There's a difference when you're being walked on. And so I just challenge you to make sure that you know what are the right things to do and to continue to grow yourself. See, knowing yourself, disciplining yourself, and leading others can be valuing them and their ideas that are in alignment with your values and your intentions. Let me say that again because that is so good and so critical to today's show. Knowing yourself, disciplining yourself, and leading others can be valuing them and their ideas that are in alignment with your values and intentions. Don't allow people to take you off of your intentions. Don't allow people to take you off of your values. This is where leadership is critical in the success of the organization that you're trying to build. All right. So now as we talk about leadership, I think it's important to understand this concept of cheers or the call. Cheers or the call. Why did you get into real estate? Guys, if you're watching online, you're watching this on replay, go ahead and type into the chat. Why did you get into real estate? Are you in real estate for the cheers or the call? Did you get in this to look a specific way, to get wealthy? Did you get into real estate in order to be perceived by others in a specific way? Why did you get into real estate? See, there's a difference between the cheer or the call. There's a difference between popularity or purpose. One of the things that I know to be true about my life is my career started off and I was selling hair care products. I sold hair care products, I sold insurance, I sold collection services. And then what's really interesting about it is I had an entire career shift into collecting rent and real estate. And then I did nearly 15 years of developing a career in real estate before we got into partnering with Red Maples to build a company in real estate. I've been in real estate so long, it's all I know. But I know that real estate was in me before I got into real estate because in high school, I was reading books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've always wanted to be in real estate. I've been fascinated by real estate. And so for me, it's not a matter of being popular with other people. Heck, half the time, whenever I'm dealing in situations, I'm like, why am I even in real estate? Because these people are being so disrespectful on the other side. And then other times, I'm like, oh, this is why I'm in real estate. This is my purpose. This is a calling. This is where I'm supposed to be. And really, are you in it for yourself or the service you provide to others? And this is how I know it's a calling for me. I know real estate is a calling for me because there's often times where I don't like it, but I still do it to help serve other people. And in that service, it's made me a better person. And so I have to ask you, are you in real estate for the cheers or the call, the popularity or your purpose? Are you in it for yourself or service to others? And if you can answer those questions, that you're in this for the call and the purpose and the service, you might just have a foundation that you can build on. If you're doing it for these vanity reasons, you might have difficulty staying in this industry for a long time. And with that said, I'd like to thank my first sponsor of the day. Outside of Red Maples, BBC Global Services is a virtual assistant organization that we use. They are outsourcing that helps people like you focus on your superpowers. They're simple and on your terms with no term limits and no minimums. You can get a free consultation by going to bbcglobalservices.com and talk with somebody at BBC Global Services about setting up a virtual assistant relationship for you. All right, guys. So then we've talked about why we're in real estate. We talked about our calling versus our purpose. We've done a little bit of work today talking about what is leadership and talking about us being the leader of an organization, the ceiling of an organization. So then if that's the case, how do you increase your influence? One of the other things that my mentor had taught me in my life is leadership is influence. So you should have mentors, you should have coaches, you should have people that work in your life. But one of the things my mentor told me was leadership is influence. Influence is leadership. They're synonymous words. So how do we increase our influence within our organization so we can lift the ceiling of our leadership? The first thing I tell you is be careful what you say. Do you measure what you say? Do you pay attention to what you say? Or do you just say words and say things? A lot of leadership is based around the things that we say and the actions that we take. And so it's critical that we take good actions and we say good things. Along the lines of saying good things is keeping your words. See, words and actions are almost synonymous for great leaders. If you say you're going to do something, keep your word and do it. That helps build your credibility and your trust and your influence over a period of time. You need to know your assets in order to grow your net worth. You need to know your assets in order to grow your net worth. What do I mean by that? Okay. It's so important that you know your personal assets. What are your strengths? What are the things that you're good at? What are the things that you do well? It's also important that you understand the things that you're not good at, your liabilities, your weaknesses. Why is it important that you know these things? Because it helps you to make good decisions. If you don't know yourself, and let's say that you've had kind of a bad day and you're off, and you get a phone call from a tenant who's heated about something, your ability to be your best self with that tenant is critical. How do you respond to that tenant in a way that calms down the frustration, or do you exacerbate the frustration? One of the things that I used to do back in the day when I was teaching staff in order to understand customer service, I don't use this as much today, but it's critical that I teach it at this point, specific to this concept of influence. I don't teach as much today with our staff, but it is a concept that I used to teach whenever I was developing leaders and growing people within our organization. And the concept is this: the gasoline bucket versus the water bucket. What state are you in? Are you in a state of gasoline, or are you in a state of water bucket? And whenever there's a fire that emerges in your business, what are you doing to that fire? Are you pouring gasoline on that fire, or are you pouring water in that fire? Managing yourself and managing your mindset in such a way that you're constantly pouring water on that fire to put them out versus pouring gasoline on that fire and creating more problems is critical to your ability to influence tenants. Now, think about that with staff members. Think about that concept when it comes to dealing with other investors or outside resources or vendors. Are you in a position where you're pouring water on that, or gas on that fire that's being created or that's cultivated? That gives you your ability to have influence with other people. So your promise produces predictable patterns provided principled performance. Let's break this down. Your promise, the things that you say you're going to do, produces, that's simply just means it creates a result. Predictable patterns. What is that? That means success is habitual, guys. If you're going to have certain success in life, it's going to be habits and rituals that you do on a daily basis over and over and over again. So your promise produces predictable patterns, provided, that means as long as there's principled performance, meaning you do what you say you're going to do and get the outcomes that you say you're going to get. You do that long enough in real estate, and you'll have significant influence. So if you want to know how to have influence in real estate, if there's one thing that if you have a notepad and you take notes during this show, this would be one thing that I would write down, and it would be something I would look at on a daily basis. Your promise produces predictable patterns provided principled performance. Remind yourself that your promise produces predictable patterns provided principled performance. So how do you get principled performance? I can make a strong argument that the number one way to get principled performance is to run towards your challenges and not away from them. The path to success is always uphill. It's the difficult thing that you don't want to do. It's the effort that you don't want to put in. It's the tenant you don't want to call, the investor you don't want to call back. It's the property you don't want to go look at. It's always uphill. We were talking in a meeting today, and we were talking about business growth. And I said, guys, in business, we're either growing, climbing the mountain, or we're shrinking, going back down the hill. And guess what? Up the hill is a challenge. Up the hill is a challenge. And so you got to know yourself to handle these challenges. When are you tired? When do you need to eat? When do you need to rest? What music do you need to be listening to? The better you know yourself, the more you can handle these challenges. When you overcome your biggest challenges, you give others confidence. Man, think about like when the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Everybody that rooted for Kansas City felt validated. They felt like they won. You didn't play the game, but you had a sense of confidence that came from watching other people do amazing, great feats. And if you're a little kid and you're watching some of these great guys that went out on the football field and played amazing football and ended up winning the game, if you're one of those little kids, you see what they do and you think to yourself, if they can do it, I can do it. Running towards your challenges and overcoming your biggest challenges gives others confidence to follow you. It gives them confidence to run towards their challenges. What's the hill that you need to climb, that you need to tackle? What's the big challenge in your life that you've been avoiding or putting off that if you did the thing, people would see it and they would follow? They'll feel like they can take on giants. When they see you take on giants, they'll feel like they can take on giants. And that's all you need as a leader. A group of people who know that you're there to serve them, you're there to help them, you're there to add value to their life. They see that you've got skills to help them get to where they want to go so that they can take action. And then it's cultivating that environment so that they want to take action. Because, see, action grows your influence. Action grows your influence. And so not taking action shrinks your influence. Which person here, just given these two photos, would you rather follow? The one jumping mountains, or the one laying on the couch? I guess maybe if your goal and your life dream is just to lay on the couch and eat potato chips, then that might be the one that you follow. But for the most part, most of us want to follow the person jumping mountains. Why? Because not taking action shrinks your influence. Action is the root of influence. Influence insists, it carries with it, it suggests a connotation of action. And so at the very root of influence is fluidity, is action. There has to be movement in order to have influence. And see, you take good action, you get good results. You take bad action, you get bad results. But how do you know whether you're taking a good action or bad action? Because you learn from the bad actions, and it's the most important step in your leadership journey. You take action, you fail, you learn from the bad action you took, and you take a different action. But you never stop the process of taking action. Action is what grows your influence. And remember, guys, it's not that taking action, remember that it's not that taking action requires there to be something done. Not taking action is still an action. So if you don't take action, you've demonstrated still an action. Most of the time, not taking action is just a bad action. But it's still an action nonetheless. And that brings me to our next sponsor, who is a action taker when it comes to your insurance. Look, one of the things that people love about web insurance and their clients love about them is that every year they shop your insurance proactively so that you have the most affordable and accurate coverage on the market. They are a broker, and they are incredible when it comes to making sure that you have the right coverage for your business. So whether you are a real estate agent or a real estate investor or a general contractor, web insurance can be your guide. So let web insurance be your guide. Go to www.webinsurance.com and check out this sponsor if you need insurance for your business, home, auto, the rest. So now I want to turn your attention for a second to one thing that's a action that you could be taking, but is a bad action. And that's this concept of turnkey real estate investments. Turnkey real estate. How many of you guys, let's go ahead and put it in the chat if you're watching the show today. Go ahead and put it in the chat. How many of you guys have ever heard this terminology, turnkey real estate investments? Yeah. I would say that this is one of the other nonsense approaches to real estate investing. I don't know any real estate investment that I have ever seen bought over my 15 years of doing this that was turnkey and worked out well. Now, does that mean that you shouldn't buy a property with a tenant in it? No, I'm saying buyer beware of this terminology, turnkey in real estate investments. Why? Nobody sells an asset that's not profitable and doesn't require any work. Nobody sells it. If it didn't require any work and it made them a bunch of money, they'd never sell this thing. And there has to be more profit in the sale than there is to hold, or they wouldn't sell the property. Does it make sense? If they were going to make a boatload of money without having to put any effort into this thing, if it truly was turnkey, then why don't they just keep it themselves? You just need to be aware of this concept of turnkey that floats around out there. I had a real estate investor, and he bought a duplex that was supposed to be turnkey. And within 90 days of buying the asset, one tenant stopped paying, and the other tenant up and left the property. So within 90 days, this went from a turnkey investment to a failed investment on the duplex. And so I'm saying to you that sometimes we're taking action, and it can be a bad action. We need to learn from that action. I'm trying to give you a little bit ahead of time of some knowledge and education and information so that you have the information to make a better decision. So buy assets that have been neglected, mismanaged, devalued. This is the absolute best way, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion. You need to talk with your accountant, your lawyers, and all the rest of the disclaimers I could possibly put on the show. But this is the best way in order for you to find something that actually has value in it, something that's been neglected, something that's been mismanaged, something that's been devalued. Don't look for turnkey, look for mismanaged, look for neglect, look for devalued. These are places where you can take significant amount of action that's good action, because you're not buying it with the intention of turnkey. You're buying it with the intention of properly managing. You're buying it with the concept of taking responsibility for the property. You're buying with a concept of adding value. When you do these things, it has a significant impact in your long-term ROI of these properties. So your job is to find stuff where you can add value, adding value that might be concealed in the property. And when you can do that, you'll be taking the right action, in my opinion, on your real estate journey. And I have to say thank you to our sponsor today, Red Maples. If you are looking for a small multifamily real estate and property management for small multifamily real estate investors, so if you're looking for a property management company of small multifamily real estate investors who can show you how you can earn double-digit returns on small multifamily rentals, just head on over to www.red-maples.com/assessments and check out our video that we have on there. It'll give you a little bit of information about what we do differently as a company, and then fill out the information so we can do the assessment together. And that, Renovation Nation, brings us to the end of another episode. I'm Nathan Bush, your guide on this journey of real estate business growth. Remember, just like plants need the right air, soil, and care, our minds need the right environment to build a life of purpose, passion, and growth. Don't forget to get your citizenship in the Mind Renovation Nation. Follow us by subscribing to my email list. Hit subscribe on the YouTube channel and stay up to date with our latest episodes. And if you love today's mind workout, please share this with a friend who's as passionate about real estate business growth as you are, so they can join us every Friday at noon. So join me next time for more insights, inspiration, and of course, a little bit of that nation-building spirit that drives us to create a community united by shared values, purpose, and a commitment to leaving a lasting legacy. Until then, keep building, keep growing, and let's lead more than 25,000 souls to a life of values-based investing. Our journey of Mind Renovation Nation, we often talk about personal growth, ethical leadership, and making impactful choices. Values-based investing is an extension of that philosophy. It's about being a steward not only of our finances, but of our values and our vision for the future. So signing off from the heart of St. Louis, stay blessed, stay inspired, And remember, every day is a chance to renovate your nation. Thanks, guys.